Hey guys, and welcome back to the official podcast of Development Unplugged. And today's episode is going to be very different than other episodes. First of all, it's in the evening. That's going to be a new thing from now on forth. It's going to be every Wednesday, not Thursday. That's an isolated case for today. But every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Time. So we're changing the times a little bit because we want to get more involvement, and we know a lot of people are at work, and yeah, we want to improve some things. So now that I've gotten that out of the way, let's talk about today's episode. Why is it different? Well, in today's episode, I'm going to be focusing a little bit more on giving you guys a bit of an update of what's going on here at Develop Development. How can you get involved? What are the options? What's available within the community of Develop Development? Because this is a project that has grown a lot over the last few years. And but there's still a lot of room to grow. And obviously, different markets in the world have grown more than others. And yeah, right now we are looking at expanding. We're looking at traveling more again. If you followed me a few years ago, I used to be traveling all the time to different countries. And in this last year, as many of you know, my grandfather was not so well. So this year I have slowed down a lot with my traveling. I really kept live events at a minimum, and focus more on empowering instructors and training instructors so that they could keep on this project alive while I focused on taking care of my grandfather. Sadly, he passed away about 3 months ago now. And when that happened, obviously here at the office, we've been evaluating what are the steps moving forward. So now that obviously this project has my undivided attention, we're going to be looking at where do we want to go from here? And there are many steps we want to take. There are many things we want to achieve. And the first thing I want to do is update you guys on the basic plans. And also on top of that, I also want to share with you really how Develop Development works. What are the options? How can you get involved? Because on this podcast, we always focus on providing tools. We provide free content every week and focus on really helping you through whatever it is you're going through. But I also wanted to take this time to educate you on the fact that there's so much more to Develop Development than just a podcast. And yes, the podcast is a very good starting point. It's a great resource. We really focus on being generous with our information, with our knowledge during the podcast. But we want to also make you aware that this information and this content goes deeper. And this community goes deeper. And right now we have people, we have instructors, we have hosts, we have event coordinators in many different countries. Latin America is probably the area where we have most people. We are currently in Mexico. This is an American company, but right now we're in Mexico because I am half Danish, half Mexican, and my family in Mexico needed a bit of support. And Steve, behind the scenes, he's Canadian. He says, tacos. Tacos is why we're here. No, I moved here basically because family needed some support. First, my grandmother got sick, and then my grandfather got sick. So, and if you know anything about Develop Development, you know that earthly people really want to help people. So we're here in Mexico right now, but we're always traveling, and we are training instructors in many different countries. And right now we are focusing on getting all the manuals for the classes, for the workshops, translated across all the different languages that we cover right now, and making sure that they're all up to date. And yeah, in the coming weeks, we're going to be launching many new classes, many new workshops. We're going to be launching some digital courses. I'm going to start touring again. I'm going to start doing live events again. And yeah, so that we're very, very excited for. But if it's the first time you hear anything about Develop Development, if this is the first video you see, if you don't know anything about Develop Development, let me just take 5 minutes to give you a brief overview of what it is Develop Development and what makes Develop Development different from other things on the market. Because there are a lot of assumptions that are made because of the industry we're in, and I just want to clear up some things. So I'm going to take some time to answer some commonly asked questions or frequently asked questions. So In a nutshell, Develop Your Element is a personal development system that takes into account personality psychology, not to put you in a box, not to limit you, not to define you. There's no personality tests. We don't tell you what you are. You're not limited to a single personality. When we talk about personality, in this case, we call them elements, but we really focus on the fact that you're a mix of all the different personalities. Some are just easier to operate in than others, and that effort that it requires to step into certain roles, certain responsibilities, certain types of social stimulus, the steps that are required when you're aware of what it is you need to do to recharge your social battery, your mental battery, your physical battery, to be more flexible, to be more agile, then you're not put in a box. Then you really can step out of your comfort zone and do things that really don't come natural to you, but that you really can do if you're in your best self. So when we say develop your element, we refer to, we want you to be in your element, in your essence. We want you to operate as your best version, not to try to be something you're not to fit any one-size-fits-all expectations. Nothing in Develop Your Element is one-size-fits-all. We try to make our tools really flexible and applicable to your context, your personality, your goals, your ambitions, your insecurities, your context as a whole. And we really pride ourselves in the fact that we are taking something, which is personal development, which is not new. I mean, it started with Hippocrates in old ancient Greece, and we're trying to do something fresh with it. We are implementing new studies, we're implementing new research, but we are packaging it in an easy to digest way. So that's in a nutshell what it is, but we're not just a personality type system. We have many tools, we have many workshops, we have a lot of resources to overcome insecurities, overcome fears, improve empathy, improve communication, improve your energy, reduce burnout, improve your leadership. There are many, many resources within the Develop Your Element community. And these resources, many are available free of charge, many on this podcast, many on YouTube videos, Instagram videos, Facebook videos. We really try to be generous with information. But I do want you guys to understand that also beyond that, we have workshops and courses and mentoring and a lot of services available, and a lot of people, you know, around the world qualified and certified to teach these tools in a more in-depth manner. So if you have digested all the free content and you need a little bit more personalized advice, there are resources available for that. If you're a person who would like to work with these tools, travel around the world teaching these tools, there is a certification program available for you. That certification program is available in multiple languages. Obviously, right now we have the English podcast. In a couple of hours, I have the Spanish podcast. But we have teams in Brazil. We have teams in Japan. We have teams in countries that have other languages beyond just English and Spanish. But English and Spanish are generally the ones that get updated and supported faster because we have more staff to help out in those languages. And so the instructors program I would like to take a few moments to talk about, because I think there are a lot of people that aren't aware of the fact that you can become an instructor of Develop Your Element. And basically this started a few years ago when I was traveling around the world giving these courses. People asked for the opportunity to work with this, to share this with the world. And we launched a pilot program. It went very well. We launched it in Brazil and in Japan to try it in two very different cultures, very different countries. And it went very well. So now we've kind of expanded it globally. And the basic premise of the instructors program is simple. You take the 5-day mastery class, which is currently our flagship class for your personal development, where you get to explore the tools of Develop Your Element at the most intensive, most in-depth way. It's a 5-day course that the first day is the basic tools of Develop Your Element. The second day is relationships. The third and fourth days are business and career and finances. And then the last day is what we call the Being in Your Element day, where we really take all that information and apply it with exercises that help you reevaluate a lot of stuff that's going on in your life and a lot of choices you're making and how you're organizing your tasks, your projects, and make sure you don't get lost in the process. And so with that course, that serves as the prerequisite for the instructors program. If you take the 5-day mastery class, you then qualify to take the instructors program. The instructors program is another 5-day course. That one, we teach you everything from how to teach, how to talk about these tools in an empowering way, not in a judgmental way, because obviously with personality psychology, if you have any issues or any bad experiences with people of certain personality, people can perceive that resistance, and we don't want that. We don't want anyone to feel in any moment excluded or being of less value, right? We want everyone to feel empowered, feel welcome, and so we teach people how to talk about the tools. We teach them how to deal with students who are disruptive, who seek a lot of attention, maybe students or clients who have a very victim mentality. How do you support and nurture them, but without reinforcing that victim mentality? We talk about how to improve your presence with the different technologies available. We teach you how to film and edit videos. We teach you how to edit images, how to make online promos, how to do digital marketing. We teach you a lot of different tools. And those tools you can apply to any business, any project. But obviously the examples and the main purpose is helping you become a more successful instructor, because I've seen a lot of personal development systems around the world that are very good at teaching the tools, but many fail at teaching you how to use a camera, how to use a computer, how to use different software to improve the image that you're portraying. And we provide you with guidance based on every single level, whether it is that you only have a cell phone and you want to improve your presence with that, taking better pictures and videos, or whether you have a professional camera and a work beast of a machine, like a computer that's very powerful. Doesn't matter what your budget is, what your resources are in that moment. We can help you maximize what you already have and teach you how to make better purchasing decisions moving forward. So we help you make a plan so that you are ready to level up. And it's a very interactive course where we also get you to teach classes, mock classes in pairs, where we get to then review those classes, give you feedback, and then the whole group can learn from that. And right now, we also we're doing is we are offering both courses in a bundle package, so that if you want to take kind of the fast track to become an instructor, you can take the mastery class and the instructor's class and get a $500 discount right now if you take both. Each course separately is worth $2,000. If you take them combined at the same time, you save $500. And we're doing this right now because, as I mentioned at the beginning, this last year, I haven't been traveling as much. I haven't been on tour almost at all, only gone for the very, very, very important events that I couldn't miss. And so we basically want to train some more instructors. I think it's time to grow the team a little bit. And the English speaking market, I think we also need to focus a little bit on, because we have been very good at advancing in the Spanish-speaking market. We've been quite good in other markets like in Brazil, in Portugal, and Japan. But in the English-speaking markets, we are a little bit behind. So right now, if you're an English speaker, if you want to become an instructor, get in touch. You'll get a lot of support from us, because obviously it's in our interest to grow this and to diversify the team. So that's where we're at right now. And we're basically planning a lot of events moving forward. I know that not everyone wants to become an instructor, but let's say you live in a different city, you live in a different country, you want a class, let us know. Let us know if you want to take a class, you want to attend an event, and maybe you can't travel. Well, if there's enough demand in your country, in your city, we are able to go to your city, or maybe there's already an instructor in your city or in your country. So let us know about that so that we can organize something, because we're also looking for more event organizers. We call them hosts. So if you want to host us in some country or some city, let us know. We have a new system in place to support hosts with all the resources they need to create successful events. And we are very excited to also get more collaborators. So if you're interested in collaborating, if you're interested in becoming a host, let us know as well, and we'll give you all the information and all the resources you need to plan a Develop Your Element event close to you. And even if you live in a country with a different language and you might speak English, but your friends or your colleagues or the people around you that might be interested in this information, even if they don't speak English, get in touch and we'll see if we have a translator available. Or maybe you can translate too. We're also always looking for translators for all the big languages. And if you speak any major language and want to become a translator, get in touch as well. And I'm getting some questions here. And so I'm getting some questions related to describing a little. If I could describe a little bit, what are the benefits of joining this team? What makes this team different from maybe other communities, other personal development systems out there? And very simply, what we're trying to do with the instructors program, what we're trying to do with the host program, with the translators program, with planning events around the world, we're trying to do things in a way that's very personal. And what do I mean by that? We really are trying to make sure that we have direct contact with every instructor. We really are focused on quality control over growth, meaning we are focused on making sure that every instructor is highly qualified, highly ready to talk about these tools and really empower people and help people. We are also very committed to helping every single instructor with all their needs in their journey to become better instructors. And we really focus on that personalized attention. So that means if you become an instructor, if you take a class, you get access to a community. You get access to really a support network that goes beyond just that one class or beyond just that one instructor's program. It means you take a class, you get the basic tools, you identify what elements you have, what are your biggest sources of energy leaks or drainage in your life, what are your biggest insecurities, what are your biggest goals, how have you interconnected your goals. When you get those basic things on track, you need help, we're not going to be charging you every time you need help. We want to become obsolete. We do not want you to depend on us, meaning we're not going to be evaluating you based on what courses have you taken and what courses have you not taken. We're not going to be shaming you for not being a certain level or not having taken a certain course. No, if you take just one single course, if you just take one single video, if you just digest this content in any way, shape, or form, if you have questions, we're there for you, free of charge for basic questions. Yes, there are certain things that obviously need more time, where we need to be in a kind of more course setting where we can do some exercises and kind of hold your hand through the process. But it's not our mentality to always be upselling you. It's not our mentality to always be releasing the next thing that you have to take this, otherwise you're not qualified, or otherwise you're not, included or part of the group. No, none of that. We really want us to be obsolete for you. We don't want the tools to be obsolete, because once you learn something, well, it's with you for life. And we don't want to be an alternate social bubble either. We want to give you tools so that you can be your best self in any environment with any group of people. We don't want you to escape to Develop Your Element events and feel like only with Develop Your Element people can you be yourself. No. We don't want to be an alternate social bubble. We want you to be able to be anywhere in the world with any group of people, even people who drain you, that challenge you, that frustrate you, and really get along with them, or at least be empathetic and be able to survive that family trip that you're dreading so much. How can you generate more empathy? How can you generate more compassion, more patience, more flexibility without losing yourself in the process, but really understanding people? Because the moment you understand why people do what they do, you stop judging them and you stop forcing your context and you stop invalidating other people's context and you start allowing people more to be themselves, right? And it starts with you empowering yourself, but it doesn't end there. Also, when it comes to Develop Your Element, we help you become the best version of you, but we also help you bring out the best in others. What do I mean by that? Yes, we help you unlock yourself, overcome your fears, align your goals, interconnect your goals, get back on track. But We don't let you get stuck in the me mode, because what happens sometimes when people start their personal development journeys is that they start the journey and then it's like, oh, now I'm finally going to choose for me. Now I'm finally going to empower myself. Now I'm finally going to do things for myself. But sometimes when people take that step, they start burning bridges because they start focusing so much on themselves that they ignore the people around them, and they start destroying the relationships that are so important for them. So in Develop Your Element, we always say, yes, first put the oxygen mask on yourself and then the people you're taking care of, but don't get stuck in just putting it on yourself. These resources are generous resources that you can use to help others, not just yourself. But yes, you got to start with yourself, because the more regenerated you are, the more confident you are, the more you're able to understand people, the more you're able to help people. But the starting point is you, but it's not the finishing point. So that is a big thing that I want to communicate. And it's also a self-exploration journey. I don't want you to feel like, oh, these tools tell you one direct path of this is who you are and how you're going to do it. No, we don't tell you who you are. We don't tell you how you function. We don't tell you how you should function. We tell you these are the possibilities. These are the common character traits. You choose you identify what is easiest for you to operate in, what requires least effort, what's most natural for you, what requires more effort, and then we help you with the stuff that's difficult in the moment that you need to, but we don't let you lose yourself. Because a lot of times what happens in personal development is people, they start a journey and then whatever system they start studying tells them, oh, you got to be more like this, you got to be more like that, you got to dress like this, talk like this, walk like this. And then people get so tense, they get so stressed trying to sustain a rhythm, a lifestyle that's not natural for them. And here's no, find out what's your base, what's the most natural for you, but also don't get stuck there. Don't use it as an excuse to not grow. We always talk about in Develop Your Element, if you want to grow, you got to step out of your comfort zone. If you're not failing, you're not innovating. If you're not being rejected, you're not selling. I mean, you really have to understand that sometimes to get to a much more comfortable quality of life, you have to go through periods of less comfort to build what's more comfortable, right? And not just run away from discomfort. I mean, we talk a lot about escapism in Develop Your Element. We don't want people to escape from the problems. Develop Your Element is not an escape. It's not an alternate social bubble. It's not an alternate community where you escape to. Yes, can we be a support network for you? Yes, can you escape in the sense that if you're having trouble in your home, if you're having trouble at work, yes, you can come to us. But we're not going to use that as an opportunity to deteriorate those relationships. We're going to help you rebuild, restructure, reapproach certain things in your life so that you don't get so drained, so that you don't get so burned out. Another question here. So, okay, so there's a question/comment here about personality psychology and also society and about value. And one thing that maybe I should mention briefly, at Develop Your Element, we talk about 3 different states. So the first state is the biological state. That's the most natural state. That's what comes so natural to you. It's how you're wired. It's your main instinct. It's what you seek out the most. It's how you react naturally to situations, especially social stimulus and processes and stuff like that. And what we explore is, how do you identify what's most natural to you, what requires least effort, so that you can use that as a starting off point, but not as a final destination. Then we talk about societal state. That is where your culture, your society, your family, the people around you, they influence you, they guide you, they critique you, they try to shape you sometimes. They try to protect you sometimes. It's not always bad. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it actually works for you. But many times the people that influence us and guide us, they provide us with one-size-fits-all guidelines, or they guide us based on what worked for them, or based on their fears or their goals, and they fail to take into account our personal individual context. And in development, we want to focus on identify what is your individual context. Yes, what is the societal context? What is the environment that you're in? How can you adapt in key moments to show collaboration, to show flexibility, to show generosity when it will really create a better impact for everyone? But how do you avoid adapting yourself and losing yourself to an extreme in the process? And then finally, we talk about something called passion projects. That's basically when you're so passionate about something that you forget to sleep, you forget to eat, and time flies much faster. It doubles your battery, and it helps you step out of your comfort zone and achieve the unimaginable. Like it helps turn things that are impossible into possible, things that are difficult into possible, easy. And it really is a source of extra battery, source of extra energy. And Steve behind the scenes is saying, and sometimes it makes you speak so fast that people have to catch up. Yes. Obviously, I'm passionate and I want to share things. So with that context that I just provided you, the three states, going back to a little bit what we were, basically to paraphrase a little bit the comment/question we have is, it's related to your individual value, how each element has value, and how in certain societies there's certain things that are celebrated and certain things that are maybe critiqued. How do you approach all of that, right? And what I want to say is, when you are in a regenerative state, meaning in development, we talk about when you have your battery high, you are more patient, more flexible, more empathetic, more agile, more like you're just the best version of yourself. But to get there, you have to allow yourself certain activities and certain stimulus that sometimes will get judged. But by allowing yourself those stimulus, those actions, those ways of being, you will unlock the flexibility to be generous and flexible and adaptable to situations where really it pays off to adapt. But if you force yourself to adapt to your society and lose yourself in the process, you're going to be so tense, you're going to be less patient, less empathetic, much more rude, much more conflict prone, because what happens when we step out of our element, when we try to be something we're not, our heart beats faster, our muscles get tenser, we start sweating. It's really a physical manifestation of stress. And a little bit of stress before an exciting event is good, but chronic stress is not good. And how many people go through life with chronic stress? And how much of that stress is caused by people trying to fit into boxes or meet expectations that are really hard for them to meet because they go against all their natural instincts? And in development, we actually talk about, believe it or not, you can meet many of those expectations if you don't rob yourself of your identity, of your regenerative spaces, those environments, those activities, those things that fill you with energy and inner peace. And yes, with development, we want to communicate the fact that all personalities, all elements have equal value in the sense that they all provide something that the other elements have a harder time providing. And you're a mix of all of them, so you can unlock and develop all of them. You're not stuck to 1, 2, or 3, but you're 1, 2, or 3 are more common. And when you develop all these elements, then yes, you can really step into whatever role you need in any moment. But you shouldn't feel guilty about your strongest instincts, because many times growing up, we've been judged and criticized for our strongest instincts. If you look at extroverted people, many times they've been told, sit down, sit still, focus, finish things. Introverts have maybe been told you're antisocial, asocial. Asocial is technically the more correct term, but antisocial is used more colloquially. That's why I used it. Maybe they've been told they're cold, or like they've been criticized for certain instincts or character traits they have, but those same character traits can actually be applied differently and generate the opposite reaction. Meaning there's this fine line between being confident and being arrogant. There's a fine line between being analytical and introspective and being asocial. There's a fine line between being emotionally expressive and emotionally supportive and being emotionally dramatic. So each personality has certain skill sets and capacities that when they're applied and directed in the best way, they generate positive impact for others. But when a person is drained or insecure, they utilize their character traits in a negative way. So what we want to talk about in development is you're not defined by your pitfalls. In fact, there are people out there, I've given classes where people have told me that when they took a personality test with some other system, they started crying because they got a list of like pros and cons or strengths or weaknesses. And they told me, I've spent years trying to overcome these insecurities. I've spent years trying to overcome these fears. I've been spending years trying to overcome these pitfalls. And this says it's part of my personality, so I'm stuck with it. So if you use personality psychology with boxes, people are going to feel invalidated. People are going to feel stuck. People are going to feel like they're not in control. In Develop Your Element, we don't want any of that. So yes, these tools really are meant to empower you, but really without a one-size-fits-all system. So yeah, moving forward, now that I've given a little bit more context about Develop Your Element, I also want to communicate when it comes to Develop Your Element, we are bootstrapped company. We are really taking things one step at a time to make sure that we're doing things in an ethical way, in an inclusive way, in an empowering way, in a way that can scale, but in different countries and different cultures without invalidating anyone in the process. And we are also focused on having a lot of diversity on our team of every type, not like, how should I say? Basically, this team, we have so many different types of people, different types of personalities, different contexts, different belief systems, different goals, different everything, and that enriches this project. And by designing something that's not focused on being one size fits all, but rather trying to understand everyone's individual context and really bring out the best in every individual, I think that's something that really separates us from a lot of systems. And it's something definitely that I hope that if you are a person who follows us, if you listen to our tools, if you share our tools, really, if you share it, don't share it in a way that you invalidate or criticize anyone. Really use it to unlock those people, to appreciate them more, because just because you have one way of being doesn't mean that other ways of being aren't good. And we also talk about how can you receive kindness, generosity, collaboration from people with very different ways of being. If you can learn to receive the beauty and the generosity from people who communicate it and express it, maybe without words, or maybe with actions that make no sense to you. In fact, there are some personalities and people who are gonna support you by criticizing you. And you might take it personal as a personal attack, but really they're investing their time in helping you. So these tools can also help you have more gratitude for certain family members, for certain friends that are supporting you. Maybe not in the way you need, maybe not in the way you want, but in the way they know how. And it will also help you to help other people, not in the way that you need, not in the way that you desire, but really in the way that the other person can receive and in the way that the other person can value. Develop Your Element is not used to manipulate people. It's used to provide more value in everything you do. If you are a salesperson, how do you communicate the benefits of a product or service based on the personality and the individual context of a person? If you're a parent, how do you honor, value, and support and stimulate your child based on their individual context and their personality and their aspirations, without invalidating them or destroying their self-worth and by imposing your ways of doing things that might not work for them? If you're in a relationship with someone who's very different from you, how can you value and appreciate them more and stop trying to control them or limit them? And how can you start trusting them more and appreciating them more and really seeing them for who they are instead of who you want them to be? Develop Your Element really is, I think, we can describe it in many different ways, or I know we can describe it in many ways, but for me, I think one of the most essential things is it's a system that improves your emotional intelligence, your empathy, your compassion, your generosity, your collaboration, your gratitude. And I've seen it here at the office. I mean, we have people of so many different walks of life. And in the beginning, yes, their individual contexts would sometimes clash. And yes, diversity, when there's a lack of respect, lack of understanding, lack of communication, can lead to a lot of breakdown in things because everyone has their own priorities and their own ways of doing things. But when you have common goals, when you find middle ground, when you generate empathy, when you generate understanding, when you have curiosity, and you try to understand these differences and support each other mutually, wow. And that's something that here at the office, I've seen a lot of that growth. I've seen challenges, and in developed element, we're also realistic. We understand that there are going to be uncomfortable conversations. There are going to be uncomfortable situations. There are going to be moments of reject, of failure, of judgment, of criticism. You're going to invalidate people, and people are going to invalidate you. We understand that people are people. But with these tools, we really can focus more on those common goals. We really can focus more on bringing out the best in people, valuing people. And really, these are life skills. And I challenge you guys to really take these tools and apply them. Even if you don't want to apply them from a business perspective, we've been getting a little bit of feedback from people who've been following us for years. And some of them that might not be so business centric have said, listen, this stuff is good, but I want you to talk more about personal development, because yes, as we are an entrepreneurial setting, I'm very passionate about business and entrepreneurship. I often really give examples about that. I give examples about things that I really am passionate about, but I also want to communicate. These tools, they help you be a better parent, a better lover, a better leader, a better child, a better whatever it is you want to be for someone. And if you want to get involved, let us know. I mean, we're very agile. We're still bootstrapped. We're still early stage. Yes, we've been at it a few years now. We've grown into several countries, and we are very proud of our achievements. But we also know that we are deliberately taking things very slowly. We're not taking shortcuts because we want to do things right. So yes, we have a long way to go. And if you want to help us get to all the places we want to be and help all the people we want to help, get in touch. Reach out. We are here. This is a bit of a recruitment call, but a very open one of, whatever it is you desire to do with these tools, get in touch. Obviously, for me, the biggest importance is not to use these tools in any negative way, and really use them in an ethical way. But if you have any ethical, valuable ideas on how to take this and help more people, let us know. We're all ears. I want you guys to know that we are more accessible than you might think. I have been surprised. There have been a lot of people that I met now that I've started doing live events again. I've been surprised by how many people kind of are watching, but without maybe getting in touch. And then after events, they've come to me and shared their anecdotes, their stories, their questions, and I've noticed that many times people have had these questions or these ideas or these suggestions for a long time, and they're only sharing them now. So I do want to encourage you to, get in touch, and we're here, and yes, if you've seen us slow down in this last year with live events and especially things in English, it's because of family matters that were very important for me. But now we are ready for the next chapter. And if you want to be part of that next chapter, get in touch. We're here. And I think that will wrap it up for today. I will say, moving forward also, the podcast will be 1 hour instead of an hour and a half, because we've also gotten some feedback on that. So stay tuned for that. So have a good one. And we'll be back next week. We'll be back on Wednesday, 6 p.m. Central Time. And make sure to subscribe and ring the bell if you want to be notified when we have more of these podcasts and more videos. And if you can't watch it on YouTube, we do upload these on Spotify, on SoundCloud, and on other platforms. So have a good one, and see you next week.
Where can people go to find more information about Develop Your Element?
So Steve is asking me to provide a little bit more information about where to find information. So let me just add that before wrapping up. DevelopYourElement.com, Develop Your Element Facebook page, contact at developyourelement.com. You can add me on Facebook or send me a DM on Instagram or on Twitter. I am more than willing to answer those. And the comment section here is perfectly fine as well. There are many ways to reach out. We are always attentive of all the different socials and all the different means of getting in touch. And we will be launching a website in the coming weeks for the instructors program, specifically to help people who want to become instructors. They can enter that website and they can start the process of becoming an instructor. So we'll let you know when that's out as well. So, any more questions? I think we're good then. So have a good one and see you next week.